Hello everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Numb Solid and today we're going to be reading Reddit posts. Let's get into it. It has been a week and I'm sorry, I've been trying to be more consistent, but it's kind of been a little bit hard. I've been working a lot and I've been so tired after I've gotten through, so I've had like no time to do anything. I did finish this book, so I will be working on that video next, but we're going to be reading some Reddit, so let's get into it. The first one is under the subreddit family drama. It says, sister-in-law got uninvited to my daughter's birthday party. Okay. My sister-in-law has 4 kids, 3 from her current marriage. The oldest, 12, still doesn't know. When I had my daughter in 2023 and went back to work in August, she became my daycare provider. I packed my daughter's lunch and provided everything she needed. We started having disagreements when she insisted my 1-year-old daughter should be in a forward-facing car seat. The cheapest one available, not the one I had provided. We eventually compromised, allowing her to use our seat, but only forward-facing in town. Why are you trying to use a you don't use a forward-facing car seat until, I don't know how old they're supposed to be, but I feel like a 1-year-old shouldn't have a forward-facing one unless they have legs as long as King Kong. And it's not your decision either, ma'am. But anyways, things were fine until my daughter got older. She started getting upset when I dropped her off at her house when I was sick. I had food allergies that could make me very ill, but it's not contagious. She called while we were on vacation to complain about this and other things. We tried to meet her halfway, like agreeing to let her spank my daughter for throwing toys. The reason my daughter threw toys was to keep her cousins away, as they would constantly hug her tightly and not let go. But I felt the situation could have been addressed differently, but I compromised and we allowed her to spank my daughter as she treated her like her own. A month later, my husband was informed that we needed to find a new daycare for our daughter in November. We had no heads up and luckily found a great daycare near my husband's work, but it caused us a lot of stress. We later realized that she was charging us the same price as regular daycare, but wasn't providing much care or activities for our daughter. None of her kids had ever attended daycare. The reason she kicked my daughter out was that she wanted to homeschool her children, as her 4-year-old son was struggling at school for occasional behavior issues. After pulling him from school, she also pulled her 1st grade daughter after Christmas. It sounds like your kids are bad. And while you spanking on my child, you need to be spanking on yours. Shoot. After this, we didn't see much of them for a while, but my daughter's birthday was approaching. We had many birthdays in March, so we set the date early in January to inform everyone. A week before the party, my father-in-law got sick and couldn't attend, which was understandable. His brother also couldn't come due to work, which was fine too. But 2 days before the party, my sister-in-law called and said that they would come only for presents, cake, and gift bags, but wouldn't stay to play because they might get sick. What you mean you might get sick, heifer? We told her that if her kids weren't staying to play, they shouldn't come, since we had to pay for every child attending. And that is understandable. If I got to pay for your snot-nosed, raggedy-tail, bad Rugrats kid, they better stay and play the whole time. I'm not finna have you come halfway just to leave. And are you bringing presents? Or do you just want your kids to get all the cake and the goodies and then go on while you know. I can't stand people. This upset her as she felt she was already invited. Later, she admitted to bribing her kids to play, explaining that the party was a good opportunity for her kids to interact with family. She mentioned her phobia of getting sick and felt it should be an acceptable excuse. However, her homeschool kids were getting out of control. They only interacted with others at a monthly co-op and weekly library visit. What it sounds like to me is that you don't have control over your kids at all. I understand homeschooling. I understand it. I probably end up homeschooling my kids because school now is garbage. The thing about it is kids still need to be around other kids. A weekly library visit, a monthly co-op, that to me is not enough. These kids should be going to the park, playing with other kids. If they can hang out with other kids in the family, like that's perfect. They're not going to daycare, but they're also not going to school. So which I probably wouldn't have my kids in daycare either. But they're not going to school, so like you got to have them around other kids so they won't be socially awkward. Otherwise they will end up being that way. And sometimes kids be around other kids and they still end up socially awkward. So, but I think it's more common to happen if they're not around other kids. But you know, I don't know nothing. The other day while planting with grandma, I brought toys for my daughter to play with. She was happily playing until the cousins showed up. They started hugging her tightly and ripping toys out of her hands. The 7-year-old even took a toddler tricycle from my daughter and made her move out of the way so she could ride it. I quickly pulled my daughter away, but I still have to see them again. My feelings are hurt, and my daughter had a handprint on her arm from the forceful hugging. Am I overreacting, or am I the a-hole here? First off, your kids need to hug softer. It's called a hug. It's not called a squeeze. It's not called a squeeze me till I pop. It's a hug. It's supposed to be gentle and comforting. And you just made it not that. Another thing, if your kids, like, everybody don't have to touch my kid. Everybody don't have to hug my kid. If my kid don't want to hug you, they don't have to hug you. Like, this shouldn't be something that they're forced to participate in. This lady kids it sounds like these babies are not used to being around people. So when they see them, they just want to hug them. And they probably don't know that they're misbehaving because they're not being corrected at home. But it seemed like they don't like sharing either. My thing is this, if you see me already playing with something, or if you see my daughter already playing with something, let that baby play with that and you go play with something else. Until y'all like, hey, can we trade? Can I play with that too? Or whatever. Like, these kids don't know how to share. But it's only 2 comments, and the first one said, you should have found better care for your child from the beginning. I don't like how that was voiced. It sounded like it was wagging a finger at them. Like, you do what you can when you can. And if you ain't got no extra money to be paying for daycare, I understand. And then this other person said, you are protecting your daughter, which you are. You're protecting your daughter. And your sister-in-law, she can kick rocks. It's not that bad. I will say it's not that bad. It could have been worse, but don't invite her to no more birthday parties. These Reddit posts are really short today, but here is the second one. It is under family drama, and the title is Rough Family. Context: the whole side of my wife's family can never take responsibility for pushing boundaries set. My wife's parents moved in with us recently because they lost their house. So we gave them 4 simple rules as a pretty sweet deal. Rule 1, all your stuff downstairs, granny flat, and buy your own food. Rule 2, at least one of you has to work, but you don't pay bills. Well, okay, that makes sense. One of them has to work, but they don't have to pay the bills. They just have to buy their food. Rule 3, no hitting the kids and try not to yell at them. Rule 4, your friends are okay, but no Joe or Sally. Pretty sweet deal, right? Who is Joe or Sally? What's wrong with them? After week 2, my wife's mom hit our child right in front of me because she misheard what I said. I lectures her. What? Week 4, they let Sally into our house to pick up money, but they had beers for an hour. For context, Rob and Sally aren't allowed here due to hard drugs and stealing. Sally, 2 years ago, stole from my 9-year-old son a hat, then lied to my face when I addressed it, refusing to give the hat back. This was enough for me to ban her from seeing our kids. And you're right. How can you steal from a child? And it makes sense of the reason why they're not having them there. Hard drugs, your kids do not need to be around them. They don't need to see that. They spelled aren't wrong, just so y'all know. It's missing an E. But anyway, Sally is my grandma. And law, you could say. Is it wrong? Why are they spelling stuff wrong? I know I struggle speaking and reading and spelling. But hopefully I would not be a person who does not spell check before I send things on the internet. Is it wrong of me that I lectured them saying, no, she can't come here after the fact? A huge fight happened with my wife's mom and husband saying, we don't like being treated like children. Husband, they were just picking up money. Not true. She's my sister, dude. Me saying, if You don't like the simple rules. You don't have to live here. You can move out if you want, Grandma. But those are my babies too. Deflection onto the kids. Me to my husband. If you want to see her, you can always go to her place. I respect the husband a bit more because he did apologize after. But the grandma said, F you. Those are my kids too. Am I the a-hole here for setting clear boundaries to protect my children from certain adults? First off, this is written garbage. But I understand what you're saying. We have to protect the kids. The kids don't need to be exposed to nothing that they don't need to be exposed to. They don't need to be exposed to anything, actually. We don't want them to live a life like it's a fairy tale, but they shouldn't have to be introduced to some mess, like somebody being a drug dealer and a stealer. Because next thing you know, they're going to be a killer. And you don't need to be around mine. The first comment says, dang, you have to think of your kids' safety and your wife's safety and your safety. That should be your rule of thumb. Sit your wife down first. Talk to her. If she is in agreement, tell the in-laws no more chances. Get the eviction paperwork ready. Good luck. This dies not have any win on it. This dies just, I don't, but you have to take care of your immediate family. What the hell going on? Nobody can spell, and I'm just looking and I'm just struggling. I feel like my brain is hurting reading some of these things because people are just throwing stuff up. Anyways, the second comment says, yeah, they suck. They should not be allowed to stay. OP ended up responding, yeah, me and my wife are in agreement on this. They act pretty childish for their age, late 40s. We have already warned them that we'll kick them out and no lease change needed. I'm the main policy holder. I like to give them about another month to acclimate to the rules. They're currently in debt, $30K, and nowhere to go. That's the grandma's fault. I feel bad for the husband, but you have to do what's right for you and your immediate family, no matter how many times she tries to claim them as her babies. So Sally is supposed to be the parent of one of your in-laws. That's what you're saying, I guess. So every time when you're referring to grandma, you're referring to Sally, and Sally is saying that she needs to come see her kids, as in your in-laws? Or is Sally talking about she needs to come see her kids, as in your kids? I just need things to be explained a little bit better, and it's just not. Maybe I'm not gonna rack my brain to figure out your language. Okay, let's move on to the third one. This one is short too. It is under the subreddit, Am I Overreacting? And the title is, Am I Overreacting? Found weird pictures in my boyfriend's iPad. I went out of town and God, I just want to be able to just read through one. I'm going to stumble, but you're making it hard for my brain to comprehend. I just want it to be just a little bit easier. Y'all need to spell check. Y'all need to look at the sentence structure. The last episode, it was run-on sentences galore. There was no periods. There was no commas. Oh my God. Okay. I went out of town and my boyfriend stayed home because he had to work. I came back and thought he was acting a bit off, so I checked his pictures on his iPad that synced directly from his phone. In his recently deleted folder, I found a picture of my side of the bed where my medication, book, and melatonin are. A picture of my desk, a picture of a printed out picture of my brother, and I along with a handwritten note that's on the fridge, and a picture of our dresser. We are not planning on moving or selling any of these items either. I'm convinced that he took them so that he could remember how everything looked before hiding them because he invited someone over. Am I overreacting? I don't want to say anything about it to him until I get a little clarification. I wonder if there is an update for this. It's not. This was posted 4 days ago, so it's probably not. The first commenter says, listen, if you really wanted to freak him out, you could just say that you put something really expensive, like a family heirloom piece of jewelry, in your bedside table drawer because you left and now it's gone and you think someone's been in the house. So you're going to speak to the neighbor, as they have Ring cameras, so you can see if anyone broke in to take the police. Watch his reaction. Okay. The second commenter says, gonna need an update on this when you find out because I'm locked in. Good luck, OP. I'm hoping for the best. And here's the third one. I never would have come to this conclusion. Wow. But I think you're right. I will say, like, that if that's what happened, he creative and he kind of smart, because I probably wouldn't have thought about that. But you know, sometimes when you be cheating, you think of some real good ways to, you know, watch your back. Hopefully he didn't invite nobody over. Hopefully he was. You said y'all weren't planning on moving. It just seems weird for him to do that, but that makes sense if he did cheat. Okay, so the next one is, am I the a-hole for sending my ex's wife a binder documenting his abuse after I found out she was pregnant? This is a throwaway because I'm not anonymous on my main. I have an ex who I was in an abusive relationship with that ended with quite a bang. He was arrested for harassment and threats with a dangerous weapon, put on probation for 5 years, and can never own a firearm again. The abuse started mentally, then financially, then physically. During my years with him, I did think to save a good amount of evidence of the abuse and documented a lot in a personal journal, in personal journals. You're smart. You're very smart. In the years since, I've gone to a lot of therapy, and I mean a lot, and ended up compiling the documentation into a binder. I basically scrapbooked my way through processing trauma, and that binder has been sitting in a storage unit since I moved in with my now husband. Well, I knew that my ex ended up marrying a girl I knew from high school who was sweet and smart and very liberal. This guy was a deadbeat, misspelled a tattoo he did on himself, and wished he was at the Capitol on the 6th. I swear my taste in men isn't total trash. My husband is amazing. But the pair never made sense to me, and I just prayed that he was capable of change and didn't do what he did to me to her. When I found out she was pregnant with his kid, I couldn't stop worrying about her. I found out, as expected, the story that she got was that I was crazy and a cheater, and I made things up, and she likely didn't even know about his arrest and conviction. I don't know what the relationship is like behind closed doors, but I knew that I'd had an endless amount of what ifs if he had a child with her and was anything like he was with me, because nobody deserves the treatment I got, and no child should ever have to see that or think it's okay. So I made a copy of every single page. I put in the binder and packed them up with a handwritten note offering to talk about anything if she liked. I gave them to a mutual friend to deliver to her so he couldn't intercept. About a week later, she texted me. We met for coffee and she brought the papers, pulling pages out one by one and asking for context and comparing the story he told to mine. After a bit, she just sat silently and told me how sorry she was for what I went through. I was a little surprised she believed it, no question, and she told me she didn't believe any of it until the official court records and my victim impact statement. Then it was like it all clicked, how it was real. Well, it seems like if she didn't believe it, it's probably because he hasn't been doing anything to her. I'm guessing, I'm hoping that he hadn't been doing nothing to her, that he's taking a new leaf, maybe. I offered her a room or any help if she wanted to leave, but she said she was going to head home and pack a bag for her parents. It's been a few days since, and she's staying with them until she decides her next move, but hasn't told him her real reason behind this at all. At first, I had no doubt or regret about what I did, but I've had some people tell me that I had no business blowing up her life, and I have no idea what he is like now, but I was doing what I think I would want someone to do for me. I'm not sure. Am I the a-hole? It says edit to answer common questions. I found out about the marriage and pregnancy through screenshots sent to me. It's small town gossip, not me keeping tabs. I waited until after she was pregnant because I had thought about doing it when I found out they were married, but decided to stay out of it. When I found out she was pregnant, I knew I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't tell her. It pushed me over the edge because he had caused a miscarriage for me, and that's a pain I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. Yes, my husband knows about the past abuse and that I did this, and fully supported me, even offered to give it to her himself. I currently have a restraining order on him, an incredibly protective guard dog, a security system, and a concealed carry license that I actively use. The people that found out were not from me telling. At first, I only told my mom, who I went to for advice, my husband obviously, and later I told two friends who knew every detail just so they knew. Most responses were from people I only kind of know and don't know at all because they found out somehow through her. That's all I know. It's tricky because I understand where she's coming from with wanting to try to protect the other woman, to tell her, hey, this is what happened in my relationship. But I don't know, it could be overstepping boundaries, because it sounds like he's not doing any of this to her. So it's just like, dang, he's turning over a new leaf. If he turned over a new leaf, it's like, dang, he turned over a new leaf, and you kind of bringing up the past that he's trying to correct and try not to live in. So that kind of can suck. The first commenter says, I think she at least had a red flag moment or two for her to suggest you two meet up. Your evidence was likely what she needed to see to make it real. Hopefully you all survive and thrive without this guy. I don't know. That one is kind of tricky, because she has said that the girl didn't believe her initially until she saw the proof in the court documents and stuff like that. I don't know if there's something like underlying there, but what it seems to me like is that he ain't did nothing with this lady. He just been with her. Somebody commented under that comment and said, the fact that she was comparing what he told her and what she knows now is true and is spending time with her parents to process means absolutely she had some ideas something was off. And this last one that I'm saying, this commenting under that, it says, pregnancy is often when the mask starts to slip with abusers. They know that it's harder to walk away from a relationship when a child is involved, so they relax and let their true personality show. I wonder if that's like a tactic that abusers use, because they know, like, if there's a child involved, it's harder for the person to leave them, especially if the child knows the dad. And, you know, in a sense, I understand that you're trying to warn her so that she doesn't deal with the same things that you deal with. But if he had turned over a new leaf and you're just bringing up these demons that he's trying to seek forgiveness for, I know it's not from you, but he could be seeking it from God, and you just come in and just tell this woman that, like, you didn't allow him to tell what he has done. It's hard. I'm so glad that I don't have to really give advice, because baby. Okay, and this one will be the last one. It's under the subreddit family drama, and the title is Mom Died and the Devil Immediately Came Knocking. I've made several posts on here before. For the past 2 years, Mom had been going through hell with a husband who not only cheated on her, but harassed her even after she had long moved out of the family home, stalked her, and assaulted her. He would have been a dead man. He would have been dead. But anyways, he managed to shrink the past 2 divorce hearings. Shirk? He managed to shirk? What the hell is shirk?
Shirk.
Baby, teach me something new. Shirk sound like a... He managed to shirk the past 2 divorce hearings. The first time simply by showing up without a lawyer. The second time by paying for a false doctor's letter, delaying the process by a month each, causing my mom further pain. For the past 2 years, Mom had been unable to even retrieve her own personal belongings. We're living with my furniture and loaned or rebought clothes. This was all too much stress on my mom's heart, and after we were both hit by a massive flu virus, she succumbed to all the stress and heartbreak. Oh my God, kill that man. It would be so bad if that happened with my mama. I'd be trying to kill people. When it comes to the mamas, you just don't play with them. And this man right here is playing. God gonna get him. God gonna get him. Just leave it alone. God gonna get him. She died from the stress and heartbreak, which that's a thing that people do. That's a thing. People don't realize that you can die from how you feel. You can die from how you feel. You can die from being depressed. You can die from stress. You can die from heartache, heartbreak. This is so sad. Merely 10 hours after I said my final goodbyes, which I'm still struggling with. Maybe I should have said more or done more for her. My father had the audacity to trespass by shoving my landlord's wife to the side and attempting to make his way upstairs. No, the F you didn't. None of this stuff belongs to you. Smugly and coldly asking if my mom is really dead. This your daddy? This your daddy that's acting like this? I thought this was... I mean, not that it makes any difference. I mean, it kind of does. But I thought this was your stepdaddy. This your daddy acting like this? God be with him. Because he going straight to hell. Anyways, 2 hours after this encounter, my uncle was mocking me on WhatsApp. What kind of brothers are these? Demons. Demons. I rebuke you A day after I rebuked him. That's perfect. The day after I rebuked him for the first time, he returned, pretending to be the mailman, prompting the landlord to let him inside. What kind of landlord is this? Is you stupid? Where your wife at? She could have told you that some random man. But why would a mailman be let in? I guess if it's an apartment complex, there may be a place where they get the mail that's inside instead of outside. He immediately demanded all of Mom's belongings, papers as well as physical money, claiming it's all his now. Then he harassed my landlord, asking whether I'm on the lease or if only Mom was. After I rebuked him again, baby, at this point, like, he need a cap busting something. Your daddy is evil. He ain't nothing but evil. You sure right the devil is in him. After I rebuked him yet again, this time referring to him as the devil, which many who know him surely agree, he again left and must have spent the rest of the day activating every new news outlet and social media platform he could find, while his horror keeps walking around in my mother's clothes, which are much too small for that She-Hulk. Not she beasting through the clothes like a biggin. Not you cheating on my mama and then you gonna let this woman wear her clothes? Fast forward to the next morning. I'm at the funeral home and 10 minutes into my conversation with the funeral director, explaining to her that my parents were separated and he has absolutely zero rights. The phone starts ringing and the voice of the local policeman calmly explains to me that my father reported my mother missing and that he suspects foul play by me, no less. Why would I kill my mama? Now you. Not the first time he tries trying to get me into legal trouble. Not the first time? This man has tried to get you in trouble before? I'm just saying, you just need to go over there and be like, hey, Daddy, I just want to come here and apologize. Actually, come to my house. I'll make you a dinner and I'll apologize for all that I did. And you can have all of Mom's stuff. And then you poison him. Put some ammonia in his macaroni and cheese or rat poison in something. And then you slowly watch him suffer. I don't sound like a child of God, do I? I didn't mean nothing I said. Thankfully, I could clear up the situation and she was quickly taken off the missing persons list. Today, then, I received an insulting letter in which he couldn't help himself but insult my mother and I, while again presenting himself as a widower, heir to her name, demanding I hand him over my mother's credit cards and bank information. Naturally, I've already informed the banks, thwarting his sick attempt to steal what little money my mom had left. It is now Friday evening, and while he, his brother, his prostitute, the pimp, and the who is the pimp? Is he the pimp? The pimp and the rest of his spawn have spent the entire week trying to leech off my mom's inheritance, slandering her whenever they could, I've only now had time to let the realization sink in that she's gone and won't return. He won't even let you mourn your mother's death. This is a tragic time in your life. Like, nobody wants to have their parents die. We all know that it's going to happen, that our parents are going to pass before us. But you little you sick, stinking, funky snake, you won't even let me mourn my mother's death. She ain't even in the ground yet, and you already sniffing out how to get some money from her. She ain't had no, like, you didn't want her when you had her. You wanted to fight for everything that she had, but you didn't want her? I can't stand people like this. Oh, just stop. I'm sure she'll watch me from somewhere and will be proud of me, her little Lion of Judah, her champion who keeps fighting for her interests, to preserve her name, get her justice, and take care of her sadly very diminished. We lost 2 of her sisters last year, and now she's gone too. Family. I miss you very much, Mom. You were the greatest gift I ever received. I wish I could have done more, or that we wouldn't always have been busy with our work. You had so much life left in you, and I regret even silly things like never teaching you about video games, as one of your friends suggested. I know you loved playing adventure games like Putt Putt Saves the Zoo with the kids. You would have loved Monkey Island or Sam and Max, I'm sure. My travels without you won't be the same either. I know you loved Egypt so much and wanted to see Canada and the great state of Montana. I pray God protects your spirit as well as I'm protecting your earthly whole. Rest in peace, Simone. Mariana. God gonna get him. And hey, baby, I don't want to be in the way when God comes and smokes, whatever Maui said in my wine.
Smite you. You want to get smote?
Smoke and smeat. Yeah, I don't want to be in the way of that. Like, you can't mess with, you can't think that doing evil on earth is going to permit you to not live a life in hell. I don't know. The first commenter says, you carry her spirit, values, wisdom, and love. Push forward, and if you so choose, live as she did, as you seem to be, to honor her. She sounded like she was a good woman. She sounds like she was a great mother. And he wasn't deserving of even having her carry his last name at all. It's OP actually comments underneath it. You're right. I do feel like a part of her is still with me. That being said, I'm tired and sad. I'll never get to interact with her in the same way again. I just had to scroll through old photos because I was looking for some I took of my collection. I'm getting rather paranoid. I seem to have misplaced important court documents, and there's a large slice in one of my game boxes as if from a knife that I absolutely do not remember. Mind you, he broke into my home before I moved to a new address, so burglary isn't something alien to him, and stumbled upon a set of photos of mom instead. It just hurts so much, and it hurts even more that I'm not allowed to mourn her because of the constant harassment for him. I'm going to continue with this. That commenter says, record all of this, make notes of what happened with dates, record every interaction, and get as much of his communication typed in text or email by ignoring or avoiding real calls or in-person conversation, and get a restraining order. He sounds not too clever and sort of easy to bait under the right circumstances. Might need to get creative if you choose so. Hey, they making it now on the iPhones where you can record conversations now. You can record calls, so do that too. She said, I'm having a court appointment for a restraining order on Monday, as you should. I wish mom's lawyer hadn't been so incompetent and over conservative. She kept telling mom that mom can't file a restraining order while they're still married. That's BS. It is not why. It's not right. Which was a bold-faced lie. Yeah, it was a lie. You can file a restraining order if you married to somebody. Like, what the H? There's plenty of things on record, so I don't think a restraining order will be an issue. Last Christmas, he dumped a large load of garbage in their old bedroom mattress on our rental property and threw a glass bottle after a neighbor when she came out and called him to stop. You should have called, the neighbor should have called the cops on this mother. Your daddy gonna find the right one. Your daddy gonna find the right one. And a commenter says, this is the last one that I'm reading, said, well, in the meantime, I'd get extra locks and deadbolts. Yes. Carry some pepper spray, yes, and something in case. Get you a taser, get you probably a gun, get you a baton, get you a bat, get you a switchblade, get you all the things. A stapler, I don't care what it is. Get you something to protect yourself because your daddy is crazy. Oh, there needs to be a way to set an unbreakable or very painful boundary. Unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of these losers never finding you for moving if you have a rental. Some home alone traps said when you leave would just be something else. LOL. That's just sad that she even has to go through that. My mama done died and you over here playing. And she rebuking them. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. She better than me because I probably would have had to shoot my daddy in the foot. I'm going to make you remember it every single time that you walk, not to play with me. Think about that pain that you experienced with that foot as you walk to my house. The next time that you're trying to think about trying me, you better think about that pain in your foot because I can get the other foot or the thigh or the calf or a kneecap. I'm not going to try to injure you to where you're dead. But hey, I may bust a cap off in your butt. You better leave me alone. Like, just, this is sad. I almost cried. It's sad. It's sad. There's nothing else to say to that, but it's just sad. People need to leave people alone. Okay? Be better parents. Be better children. Be better adults. Be better grandparents. Be better human beings on this earth, period. People are just doing stuff just to do it. I just can't. The Philip, your daddy, what's gonna happen is that when it comes to his death day, he gonna have all them people that he done wronged come back and beat the hell out of him before he died. Just saying. Because I know I'll come back and 1-2 him to the face. But anyways, that is the end of this video. I hope you all liked it. Please like and subscribe down below, and comment if you want. I read my little few comments. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.